South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem has announced her state will send National Guard members to assist at the border. She joins us now from CPAC, where she spoke literally just moments ago. Governor, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
The theme of your speech today was Joe Biden's America. For those who didn't get to see you perform in front of that crowd at CPAC, would you lay out some of the key points?
I talked about the very different world we're living in today than the one I had the opportunity to grow up in, and talked about the fact that we're seeing crime, lawlessness, an open border that is devastating families and businesses and jeopardizing our national security. So I talked about that decision to send my National Guard down to the border. I was the first governor in this country that when Texas and Arizona asked for help, that decided to send National Guard troops that know how to complete missions. They're trained for it, they're equipped for it, and they're the best. So talked about that, the importance of taking this threat seriously and also pushing back on critical race theory at 1619 Project, because those are two ways that they will quickly destroy America if we don't stop them.
You mentioned sending National Guardsmen to the border, about 125 from South Dakota. Do you have a sense of when they will leave, Governor, and what their role will be?
I sent 50 at the request of Governor Abbott to Texas originally. They've already left. I sent them off a few days ago. They are currently down on the border helping secure that in partnership with Border Control agents and local law enforcement officers. Now, what was interesting to me was as soon as I announced that I was sending National Guard troops, it was just days later that the White House and the Pentagon asked us to send more. So another 125 requests came forward. They've since looked for more resources as well. So I think it's interesting to me that as soon as governors took the stand to fight for our national security, that it appears to me that the federal government has gotten the message that they better do their job, because governors will step in and do it if they don't.
You have a long resume. You served 4 terms on Capitol Hill, if my memory is correct. You also are now a CEO running the state of South Dakota. You're seen as a potential presidential candidate. A whole lot of buzz about you these days. If you were in the White House right now, what more would you do to address the crisis at our border?
I'd get the resources down there to make that it's sure that it's secure. I would ensure that they have the resources to not let illegals into this country, that we would continue to enforce our laws. Without laws and without a border, we aren't a country. And that's what Joe Biden is doing to devastate our future, really, as a free and independent nation. So, the biggest jobs that I've been the most proud of is running businesses, being a mother, a wife, and now a grandmother. And I think the perspective that I have from all of those, including being in Congress and now as a governor, gives us the opportunity to weigh in a way that really reflects what the American people want. They want somebody who will step up every single day and continue to defend the country that they love so much.
Yeah, your grandkids are blessed to have such a young grandmother. Good for you. Congratulations on that. Your thoughts as you interact with folks there at CPAC? What are you hearing from a lot of loyal conservatives?
I think they are ready to continue to push this country to remain independent, one of personal responsibility, one of freedoms and liberties that tells our true and honest history. So they are optimistic, they are hopeful, they are not discouraged at all. They recognize the threat we see coming out of the White House and the federal government, but they also recognize that conservative values are really what built this country, and that creates opportunity for all people. And that's just the message that we need to continue to carry to everyone, not just our friends, but we need to carry it to even those that we've disagreed with in the past, to make sure we win their hearts and minds back to American values.
You had a recent clash with the federal government over the fireworks show at Mount Rushmore. Do you think that was payback because you had President Trump out there a year ago?
I do. I feel it was specifically political and punitive. There was no valid reason to deny us the opportunity to celebrate Independence Day at our national monument that we're all so proud of, and it's unfortunate. I'm currently suing the federal government over that decision, hopeful that we'll be able to return those fireworks next year.
Governor Kristi Noem of the great state of South Dakota, thanks so much for your time. Have fun there in Dallas.
Thank you. We will. Thanks so much.